All righty.
We got it. So are we live
We're
now?
live. We're recording.
All right. Boy, I'm learning something new with this technology every single day. I'm
Hi,
terrible with it.
hi, folks on Facebook, and we're this is Hugh Blue and Dana Olivo. Is that how you pronounce your name? Olivo?
Olivo.
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 It's got a
Yeah.
little Italian in there. Olivo.
And now it's
Yeah.
Dominican, so.
And we're just doing the live streaming on Zoom for the first time. So Dana, I'm gonna let you interview me about this great event on the 20th of January.
Yes, no, definitely. And Hugh, I've been getting a lot of calls and people very interested on the nonprofit side, which is why I wanted to get you on this interview.
Great, great.
Yes.
And, Dan, I'm going to talk about the channel for charities, all kinds of tax-exempt organizations. But, business people in the audience also sit on boards in charities or churches or synagogues. But there's also streams of income that are relevant to both charity and business. So it encompasses everybody who's a social entrepreneur, who I think are the people who are going to be in attendance.
I agree. More and more people are definitely starting out nonprofits because they have a heart's desire for helping socially, helping those who just don't have the help that they need. As far as this is concerned, and this social nonprofits, they run just like regular businesses, and they need that money for funding as well. So this is what you're going to be talking to from the stage on January 20th, is how they can find those dollars that they need to run their business as well. Correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the same, what I do is teach the people that run nonprofits how to install business systems in the charity that they run. Because the word nonprofit is really a lie. We have to make profit in any kind of organization. And what we need to learn in both kinds of organizations is that if we have one stream of income, we'll go broke, 100%.
Exactly. It's the same thing in any business is what it is. You have multiple streams, because there are going to be times where one might not be drawing as fast as another will, and vice versa. So.
And you have I'm on stage with a whole lot of celebrities on the 20th, so I'm excited about that.
Yes. So talk a little bit about some of the different revenue streams that nonprofits might be able to draw from to help them.
Well,
that you're talking about.
That's right. I'm gonna teach people how to think about strategy in any kind of organization. The foundation is your strategy. Where do you want to be, and how are you going to get there? And then part of your strategy would be your streams of revenue, because we have work to do, and without the money flow, it's like we build a car, but we have to put gas in it now. And so the gas in this car is the funding. And nonprofits start thinking, well, we can write grants or we can have donors, and then they get stuck. Right. And they have a few donors, they get some juice going, and then they get stalled. And right. It's like a business getting a handful of customers and not getting any more. And so, yes, donors, that's your tribe of supporters. And there's a whole philosophy around donor relations that people ignore. Therefore, the donor pool gets really soft, or it dries up altogether. And then grants are not sustainable income. You can do grants for new programs, for special programs, collaborative initiatives. We can do grants in the beginning for planning. We can do economic development. We can do lots of grants if you're in the arts, if you're feeding people. There are lots of specific grants, and we want to look in the state where we are and look at what charities want to fund local initiatives and what government grants there are. There's private foundations and there's public funding. And there are grants for businesses. The majority of grants are for 501c3 charities. So there's different classifications of nonprofits, but 501c3 is what we standardly get. A chamber of commerce would be a 501c6. It's a membership organization. That's not a kind of organization that receives grants. So we'll differentiate. So the wholeness of our funding comes from our strategy. It's the heavy lifting of thinking where we want to be, and then how we're going to make it happen. And part of making it happen is funding the people and the programs. And
Right.
we need to bust the fallacies. There's lies that we've told ourselves. Number one, charities can't do marketing. Well, that's baloney. Number two, charities can't pay decent salaries. Well, that's baloney. We need really good people. So those two things, we need to drive some revenue.
Right.
We need to market what we're doing. So number one is donors, and there's a whole program around that, which I'll talk about. Number two is about grants. There's a whole positioning for grants. You have to have a team in place. You have to have a strategy with specific measurable outcomes, because the grants are going to fund your impact. There's sponsorships. If you've got a proven track record and you have a good brand, then there's companies that would want their brand associated with your brand. So we're moving from the philanthropic money to the marketing money.
Exactly.
So give us money. And there's rules around that. For charity, it's like a business, but you have more rules. So we need to stay within the lines, because we create a whole lot of business, then it becomes taxable. IRS considers that unrelated business income, and it's taxable. So there's some rubrics there. So those are the three main ones, but we got events, we got in kind, we save money with marketing, we save money with space, we save money with food.
Right. And we're going to be talking from the stage a little bit about trading services and things like that as well, which is the same as in kind, it can be. Now, you and I have worked together, for what, 2-3 years?
At least.
Knowing each other? Yeah, at least. Now, everything that you're talking about, there is a lead time to getting this money. And one of the biggest killers of any kind of business is cash flow. So those are the kind of things that we need to address with some of these new, small, emerging companies, is the understanding that there's a cash flow process that you need to protect yourself with, and making sure that you have that money in your checking account in order to pay your monthly bills that you have while you're waiting for the grants and, and everything else that you're talking about. So can you speak to that just a little bit?
Absolutely. On a startup, you can partner with another 501c3 who can receive the donations while you're getting your election from IRS. But from the very beginning, you can start getting donor money. There's no compliance piece. If you have another nonprofit that would manage it and be accountable for the donations, it's called a fiscal agent. I'll talk a little about that. But we can get cash flow from the beginning. However, we're not very good at saying why it's important. What we're doing is important, and we're not very good at talking about the impact. We spend all the time talking about the what, and people, and a confused mind says no. And so there's the language around getting that early money, and the early money is really important to launch your charity.
Exactly.
Half the nonprofits that are founded every year will close. And so if you don't want to be one of those, there's some due diligence on the front end.
Right.
And if you have an active board, they're part of your funding strategy. So I'm going to talk about 8 streams of income. I'm going to talk about what we need to do for due diligence to attract the money.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. Yes, because these audience members, I want them to be able to walk away with some kind of an action plan that they can start taking steps towards what they need to do in order to grow their businesses. And that's very important to me as far as that's concerned.
I'll give people, here's what you can do now. Boom. My programs are not academic. They're ground level. This is what you do next. Here's the idea. Here's how you get started. So I'll give people tangible takeaways of what they're going to do next.
Right.
That doesn't mean your success, our success, all of our success is dependent on us.
Right.
And so what I'm doing is equipping people with the knowledge, and you put your feet on the ground, and with the knowledge, you can get there faster. And I'm going to be around during and after the event for people to ask questions.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, Hugh, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. And it's going to be a good event. It's going to be a good event. The whole concept around this Saturday's event, the business funding event, is to educate our attendees that there is a science behind funding your business, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit or a combination of non and for-profit. Understanding that there is a science in order to keep the doors open and having multiple income streams exactly what we've been talking about. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's going to be better than a good event. I think it's going to be an awesome event.
I think it is too. I think it is too. Well, Hugh, I appreciate you joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday and really, really pumping our audience up with the information that they need to move forward.
That's a week from today. It's January 20. If I wanted to register, where would I go?
You would actually go to www.businessfundingconference.com.
Oh, that's so logical.
Yes, yes.
Businessfundingconference.com.
And if there is anybody out there that is also interested in sponsoring, they can also go to that website. You will be right in front of about 200 or more small and medium-sized businesses. So if you're interested in sponsoring, you can also go to that site. There is a link for sponsorship.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited about being there.
All right. I'm glad to see you, Hugh, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Take care.
All right. Bye.